Now we'll have a small discussion on percents, or known as percentage. So what do you mean by the literal meaning of percent is hundredth. The literal meaning of percent is hundredth. Fine. When you say 5%, what do you mean? 5% is nothing but 5 hundredths. That is 5 hundredth in the sense 5 by 100. You call 5%. 5% is nothing but 5 by 100. This is known as 500. The value is 0.05. So this notation is called as the percentage notation. This one is known as the fraction representation, and this one is known as the decimal notation. So a number can be represented in these values. 5% is nothing but 5 hundredths, 5 by 100, fraction representation 0.05. This is the decimal notation. Fine. So as for percentage is concerned, this is the basic as well as advanced concept that you would like to know. What is percentage? It is the representation in terms of hundreds. 5% is 5 by 100. With this knowledge and with some basic practical knowledge, you can solve any kind of problems. Whenever a question is asked, do not consider for a larger number. Instead, always consider any problem with the base has 100. Okay, we'll see what how to apply that particular knowledge in our future problems. Fine. Now you say you are asked to find 45% of 200. What is 45% of 200? You need not go for multiplication or anything. Just consider the number 100. Okay. What is 45% of 100? Simple. It is 45. What is 45% of 100? It is 45. Now, what is 45% of 200? In order to get 200, multiply 100 by 2, isn't it? Multiply 100 by 2. Similarly, multiply 45 by 2, 9. So, 45% of 100 is 45. 45% of 200 will be nothing but 90. Always construct your problem with a base of 100, then proceed to find out any answer. 45% of 200 is nothing but 90. You are given 2 by 3 percentage of 4 and 4 percentage of 2 by 3. You are given 2 by 3 percentage of 4, and in another side you are given 4 percentage of 2 by 3. You are asked to evaluate these two expressions, whether they are equal to or greater than or lesser than. Always you need not once again go for calculation. The simple fact which you have to keep in mind is A% of B will always be equal to B% of A. 2 by 3% of 4 will always be equal to 4% of 2 by 3. 7% of 9 will always be equal to 9% of 7. 9% of 7. 45% of 100 will always be equal to 100% of 45. It is a simple fact. What is 45% of 100? It is 45. What is 100% of 45? Completely the value. So 45 will always be equal to 45. So another simple fact which you have to keep in mind is A% of B is always equal to B% of A. Another way of solving problems, you are given the initial percentage is say you have 100 apples, or you have 100 apples, right? So initially you had 100 apples in your hand. Now after selling few apples, you have 50 apples in your hand. Initially you had 100 apples in your hand, and after selling few apples, now you have 50 apples. So the number of apples have been reduced. In this case, you can find the percentage decrease in the number of apples. what is the percentage decrease in the number of apples. How many percentage has been decreased? How to find such values? In this case, there is a simple formula. Consider the initial value. Initial value minus the final value. Initial value minus final value will give the amount of decrease divided by the initial value. Initial value is 100 into 100. What is the answer? 50. So there is a 50% decrease in the number of apples. How will you construct the formula to find the percent decrease? The formula for percent decrease will be initial value minus final value divided by initial value into 100. Fine. So this will be the formula for percent decrease. Similarly, what is the formula for percent increase? Initially you have 50 apples. You went to a garden, you got some more apples. Now you have 100 apples in your hand. You have to find what is the percentage increase. Similar formula, just what you have to do is final value minus the initial value divided by initial value. Same. So what is the final number of apples? 100 minus initial is 50. What is the initial value in this case? It is 50 into 100. Answer is 100%. Okay. So from this you have to understand one fact. Percentage increase may not it is not always important that, or it is not always mandatory that percent increase must be equal to percent decrease. Initially you had 100 apples. After selling you had 50 apples. In that case the percent decrease was only 50%. But you had 50 apples initially and finally 100 apples. In this case the percentage increase is 100%. So never get fooled by considering that the percent increase is always equal to percent decrease. It is not so. Percent decrease was 50%, but the percent increase was 100%. This percentage value depends upon the initial value you are considering, and it is not the same for the opposite processes. It depends upon the initial value. So always consider percentages are not equal when you do a consecutive increment and followed by a decrement. It is different. Now you want to increase 100 by 25%. You have 100 apples. You want to increase the number of apples by 25%. So what is the formula? Just multiply 100 by 100 into 1 plus k percentage. In this case we want to increase the number of apples by 25%. So 100 into 1 plus 25%. What is 25%? It is 100 into 1 plus 25 by 100. 25 by 100 is 1 by 4. 1 by 4 is 0.25. 1 plus 0.25 is 1.25. 100 into 1 plus 25 by 100 is 0.25. So 100 into 1.25. Answer is 125. So increasing 100 by 25% gives you 125. As I said, percentage increase is not equal to percentage decrease. Now if you want to decrease 125 by 25%, say you want to decrease 125 by 25%, what is the formula? Same formula. 125 into, instead of 1 plus k percentage, it is decreasing. So 1 minus k percentage. If you want to decrease the if you want to decrease a number by a certain percentage, multiply the number by 1 minus k percentage. Here we want to decrease 125 by 25 percentage. So 125 into 1 minus 25 percentage, that is 125 into 1 minus 0.25. So 125 into 0.75. 0.75 in this case, 125 into 75 by 100. So the question is given like this: find the 45 percentage of 200. So what is the mathematical way of finding 45 by 100 into 200? It is 90. From this you can derive another question. 90 is what percentage of 200? 90 is what percentage of 200? So how will you find this? You need to find 90 is what percentage of 200. So you don't know the percentage value, keep it as x. X by 100 of 200 is equal to 90. So x is 45. Fine. So 90 is what percentage of 200? You can keep everything similar. Find the keep the unknown variable as x. So x is 45. Another type of question which you can derive from this is 90 is what percentage of 200. Similarly, 90 is 45 percentage of what number? Fine. 90 is 45 percentage of what number? In that case, what you will do? So 45 percentage is known, unknown variable is the number, answer is 90. X is 200. So 90 is 45 percentage of 200. So these are three types of questions which are very simple. So Ram had initially some number of cards in his hand. He gave 20% of his cards to Raju and 15% of the cards to Mary. After doing so, he had 520 cards in his hand. You have to find the original number of cards that he had. Fine. As I said at the beginning of this particular discussion, always base or formulate your problems in percentage to the value of 100. Whatever may be given, start with the value 100. So that would do better. So consider initial value as 100. Now you are giving 20% of cards, say 100 cards, to Raju. That is, you will have in 100, 20% is nothing but 20. Fine. So 100 minus 20 is 8. Now then you gave 15% to Mary. So from 100, actually in this case they are considering 15 from 100, so minus 15 cards. So what is the value? You will get 65 cards. So initially you had 100 cards, you are giving 20 cards to Raju, 15 cards to Mary, so the remaining is 65 cards. So you must be having 65 cards in your hand. Now just base your problem as 65%. So the remaining value is nothing but 65%. So 65% of x is 520. So what is x? 520 into 100 by 65. Answer is, so initially he had 800 cards. So base your problem to the value of 100, 20% given to Raju, 15% given to Mary. So the remaining must be 65 cards. Base your problem now to percentage, that is remaining you should have 65% of the cards in your hand. What is the remaining value? 520 cards. So 65% of the original value will be 520. So original value will be nothing but 520 into 100 by 65, which is 800 cards. So initially he had 800 cards.